Alright, hi everyone. I am here today to start my introduction to a cosplay competition being held by the company Gamingo. They have a lot of MMOs and other online games, and one of them that I play, FiestaOnline, is one of the options for this cosplay competition that they're putting on. So I'm gonna see if I can finish a cosplay in their time limit that they put on for April sometime, and we'll see how it goes. To start, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the character I'm choosing. It's one of the boss mobs in the game. Her name is Karen. She's pretty popular, so if you ever played Fiesta Online or have heard of it, you've probably heard of Karen. I wanted to do her because I love her outfit, and then she's such an iconic part of Fiesta that I thought that this was a really good choice. So, getting into it, her outfit is like a corset that's has tails on it, like a coattails kind of thing. And then she has a skirt, some stockings, and some wings. So I'm going to start with the bodice and design this. Ignore my really rough proportions and stuff, but they're just to get an idea of the shape of the outfit, not so much portions or anything yet, because that comes later. Hopefully you guys can see with the pencil. Maybe I should switch to a pen. Let me at least get the outline done in pencil, and then I'll switch to a pen for the clothing part. Like I said, this is a very, very, very rough sketch. And I'm also doing it at an angle, so that might not be very helpful to me, but we'll go with it. And then we'll do a back view real quick. I'm not too worried yet on like a lot of the details. She has some really actually detailed armbands, and so I'm not too concerned with that yet, because that's going to be one of the last things I work on, are those little extras that really bring the cosplay together. But alright, so we have our rough sketch. Now her bodice is basically like a sweetheart neckline, except it doesn't really connect in the center. And this is all white cloth, and she has a ribbon across the top here into a bow. It's a lot better of a bow than that. But that's how it is. And from the way that looks, it kind of looks like it's gathered a bit at the edges, and maybe even gathered at the top here. So that'll be interesting. I can play with layers to get this effect while still giving it the support and structure that this is really going to need, because there are no straps. And it has this open part in the center here. Next, is the corset part. And what's really interesting about this corset pattern is that it basically tells you how to make the pattern. It has these white guidelines basically coming down. This part comes down into a peak. It's outlined in white. and then goes back down. So kind of makes this nice, interesting look here. This is probably a little bit more round on the side. So this will round out a little bit on the edges here on the side. And then but what I really like about this is that it really does make the pattern piece for you, basically. So it'll work out. The back side will have to add some stuff in, but this front piece really makes it. And then it has underneath the bow some ribbon crossing there, and then right underneath it another one and another one, and that's all of the corseted parts of this pattern. But I think this is part of the skirt. There's like this nice little part that goes here that connects it like an arrow, and another one right there. Actually, that might be lower, so more like this. And then this is kind of where the skirt starts. And now I might modify some of these pieces definitely to be more covered so I'm not flashing anyone. That's an important part for me for cosplay. Right underneath the corset, there's actually these little bits that go like this. They're a little bit harder to see because it's like, it looks like black lace on top of the black underneath. But they're just kind of these little petals. And then underneath that, so one thing I'm noticing about this cosplay is that there's going to be a lot of layers to this. So this whole piece is one layer, and then coming off of here, off the corset part, it's going to be like layer upon layer upon layer here. So this will technically still be on the same plane as the corset. These pieces, they're just coming off of it. It's like a hem, a nice little hem. And then right underneath that layer though, there's these bigger petals, and you got two hanging in the front. They're more like this. And then you got ones on each side, like this. I guess I should build the back up. So on the back part, there is just a corset going straight across, and there is actually another corseted spot here. I believe it is 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4 or 5 crosses like that for the ribbon. And then you have 2 little peaks again, and then that go into that curve on the side. And this is pretty much your back. You have some, I'm gonna assume it's kind of like this white shirt peeking up over here is what it looks like to me. This part is also still lined in white. Not up the back though. Up the back it is lined, but it's lined in black again. And so for here in the back, I would actually probably do a pattern part here. And these are just my quick marks to myself, like this isn't something that's in the actual design, this mark, but this is how I would sew it to get the shape I want. And then these lines are like you would sew here. That's what those lines mean to me. So the petal, the like lower petals continue, the hemming ones kind of like this. There's 2, it looks like, and I'll have to count to make sure I get those ones right, but that might also just depend on how wide my hips are, on how many I can fit on there, because if you have the same amount as the costume but it doesn't take up the same amount of space, then you might as well just put in a few extra if your hips are wider. If you're skinnier, then you'd want to do maybe a few less, and it's all about balance. You don't necessarily need to stay exactly to every single detail because you're trying to make it fit your body and not necessarily contort your body to the shape of the character. And then in the back you have 1 petal, 2 petal, 3 petal, and then there's the parts of the side petal you can see a little bit, but not too much. So then that's your second layer underneath that'll come off of the corset. So this corset's going to have to hold a whole lot up. Besides just structuring for your body, it's going to have a lot pulling on it from down below, which means we're really going to want to structure this part up here to be able to hold up that weight. Boning, boning, boning. That is what we're going to use. Now, here's the interesting part, is that there's actually another layer underneath these petals in the back before the next tail layer. And this one starts at the ends of these petals, which these ones actually might be shorter now that I'm looking more closely at it. So let's do that. And they are interesting, this thing. Let's see if I can make sure it's going to take a lot of patience to try to get these exact kind of layering effect that it has, the overlapping. It's going to be pretty interesting, I just want to say. I'm looking forward to it. More of a challenge, right? And this is also outlined in white. I'm so very sorry, by the way, for my crap sketches. Like, it's but this is just how I think through my process of what I'm gonna need, because this is telling me already like how much I need of every cloth, and then it's also telling me what kind of cloth and materials I need, because you might think like, oh, since this is all edged in white, I should get more white cloth for that, but you can buy white bias tape instead. So really you only need white cloth for like this part and a little bit on the like little sleeve thing she has over here, which I'll get to later. But other than that, you really don't need white cloth, and so it's kind of interesting, and you get to get more familiar with the costume. Now this part I'm really looking forward to, but it has like a little square hole and then a bigger square hole, and it looks like these are separated, but they're so close together and they're so structured that I'll probably make this structured, and I'll probably connect them at these 2 points just so it keeps that perfect shape. And then it comes down into a fine point and then goes back up into that curl. Let's see if I can mimic it from the other side. There we go. Just like that. So this actually on my sketch I have a little bit lower than it's on the model, but it'll end up being different anyways because I'm not the same size as this, the character models. So I might actually end up trying to have this land more right below the knee on the upper calf rather than mid calf, but we'll see how it goes and what it looks like once I start taking into account my measurements. Now this layer is between these petal shapes and then the next set of tails. So it actually sits over these other more intricate tails. On these ones, there is one on each side in the front, and they're kind of interesting, kind of like almost this kind of shape. And there's another one on this side. So it kind of comes down and then curves in a little bit and then goes back out into a point. And there's 6 of these in total. So there's one also on this side, on this side, and then there's, let me draw the side ones. Ooh. Start sketching, taking your time, and it ends up looking a little bad. But then you have ones in the back as well that go, no, it's under. Okay, I see how the back view is. So it comes underneath this, peeks into, that's more the shape. There you go. And we got another one that comes underneath, just like that. So the side one, I was looking at the side ones and I'm like, wait, the side ones kind of sit right next to it or even over it. So this is really going to be interesting, the layering on this thing. It's going to be a lot of fun though. And then after those layers, and these ones have an intricate pattern on the like edging in red. So it's kind of like that. Like that. Bam, bam. Something similar to this. Maybe not quite that. It looks like it like runs double red lines up the whole thing. And then it's edged in white too. So this is really fascinating to me. But it's almost like just the real edge of the thing, of the garment is edged in a white. So not like a kind of like folded over the cloth edge, but almost like a round tube just stitched to the side. And so I have some thoughts for how I want to do that. Hopefully it works out. And then she has kind of a schoolgirl skirt on underneath. Pretty simple. They do like their schoolgirls skirts in this game. Weird. And then got some thigh-high stockings. Of course, where would we be without thigh-highs, right? And the thigh-highs actually have, they're like semi-see-through on the leg part. But they also have a pattern on them. I don't think I'm going to be able to find stockings. And I do prefer to buy my stockings rather than make them myself, only because that material is much harder to work with, and it's just time consuming, and money wise you end up saving more with buying stockings. So that's probably going to be one of the portions of this outfit that I do end up buying, is the stockings. Shoes, I'm not a cobbler. Will have to be bought, but everything else should be made by me. And she has some heels, some red heels. And just some simple that's a really bad heel, but you know, you live with your mistakes. So, most of this outfit is black. Like, everything in between these lines. I'm going to have to draw that out a lot more. There's some patterning in red on the bottom. It's not just plain lines, but that's how I'm going to represent it for now because I need to draw the pattern out. This is mostly black, that's mostly black. I know you can see the back part through the legs. I'm just not going to draw it in. I'll just do like a base kind of shadow thing. This is all black. All the tails are black except for the edging in white, and then the cool detail lines in red. Now these petals though, this gets a little complicated. It's because they're red on bottom but black on top, so it's like a gradient thing. So I'm either going to have to find some really awesome fabric that already comes like that, or I'm going to have to probably buy some darker red fabric and then do some dip dye, tie-dyeing to black, which I don't even know if tie-dye comes in black, but they do have dyes that are black. So it should be possible. Just so I can represent this better. There you go. I'm gonna draw in some. I have a vague idea of what these patterns are, but I'll take the time to do a more intricate part, because this is just going to be a lot of bias tape or strips of red, which when I had first thought about doing this cosplay for my head, I was like, oh yeah, I'll need to buy red fabric, white fabric, and black fabric. I honestly think I have enough leftover white fabric from other stuff that I'm not going to need to buy anymore. And I think that all of the red besides these petals are stuff I can get away with like bias tape rather than having to make small like patternized embroideries, basically, where you kind of embroidery it on or something, which is one way to do it, but it's time consuming. So since there is a deadline for this, I don't want to do anything that's going to be too time consuming. And I'm just going to do some like darker bubbles. That's more like lace, these little petals. I'm really excited about that. I love lace. I love details. I love intricate things. I love corsets. I love structured costumes. I don't do too many of them, despite how much I like them. But we'll hopefully get to see some of that today. Well, over the course of these months. I'm not building this all in a day. So this looks pretty good for a sketch, I'm not gonna lie, but is the basis to it, and gives me most of the information I need. The last few things are, she has these cross kind of armbands on both sides. So these are like stiffer giant crosses that have skulls. This is probably the only part of the costume I don't like, are the little skulls on the crosses. Otherwise, I like it. These crosses are in black that are outlined in white. So I'll have to get some detail on that. But then they have a black band in the center, and it's like ruffled up white. I did a really bad representation of ruffles on that top part. Oh my goodness, I don't know. That's better, but it's still not great. Wow. And these, to me, honestly, just look like garters, but she's wearing them on her arms instead of on her legs. So I think I'm actually going to do like a garter pattern, but sized for my biceps. And that should get us what we need there. And then underneath these, underneath the ruffles, so you can't necessarily see them, she actually has some ribbon, some black ribbon tied to her arm, and she's got like little bows just peeking out right there. And then the other part of her arms are some mid forearm black gloves that, let me finish drawing a hand out here. So, ooh, that's a bad thumb. Ignore my really bad hand here. But the glove also has these, at least on the player model version of this outfit, like these kind of thicker bracelets over them. But this is black, and this is like a shiny black, so maybe more like a silver, dark silver. And then she's got a pattern on the top of the gloves in white. I might end up painting those on in white. That could be pretty fun. But the gloves are also not fully fingered gloves. They're they got fingerless ones, and she actually, very detailed, they put red fingernail polish on her hands. I love it. Finally, a cosplay that actually has specific nail polish you have to wear with it. And then the probably last bit of the costume, like clothing part of it, is she's got this really awesome necklace. It's got like a green heart in it, green of all colors. I don't really have a green, but I kind of have this like teal blue here we'll use for that. In the center, and then kind of like almost fancy super wings design on the side, which this doesn't quite look like it, but I'm just doing quick representation. And then it's a solid ribbon of black, of course, so much black. And then she's actually even got black lacing underneath this. This is what I'm really excited about. I love lace. Oh man. Oh yeah, so I should sketch out the other side. She looks a little lopsided right now. Oh, my thumbs look so bad. Ugh. This is why you should take your time, people, when you draw hands. Otherwise, they don't look all that great. But, yeah, this is solid black there. Black. Red fingernail polish. Alright. So here we go. Here's the main part of the outfit. the back part of this collar, I believe, just goes straight across. So I'm gonna have to figure out some way to maybe put in hooks or something in the back, because it's not like ribbon. There's no ribbon tying it together. It's just solid all across the back. So I'll either have to do some Velcro or little hooks and loops. So this looks pretty good for a first time sketch. Now the other things that are included is that she's got some bat wings that do come out her shoulder blades. I had to double check that because the bat wings are a little bit odd in shape in that, look at this is her back, there's her neck, in that they come down and they're kind of skinnier. And I don't actually know if I'll be able to get to the wings or not, but we'll see. But then they come back up into one point and then a second point. And there's, it's kind of like this. This is kind of the general shape of what they look like. So I'm really excited because I've never made wings for a cosplay before, so I really hope I have enough time to get to the wings. That's another one of the reasons why I want to do this cosplay, is because I always enjoy challenging myself, and I've never done wings before, so that's certainly a challenge. And it's just like that. So that's basically what the wings on her back look like, and I have some really great ideas for attaching it to the outfit, so I don't need to like have invisible straps or anything on going around my shoulders and stuff. But the problem is that this corset is already holding up so much weight because of how many layers are going to be down here. I'm really going to have to make sure I balance this carefully, so, and really structure this corset to the max. Like, it should be the corset's wearing me, not me wearing the corset. And then she also has on her head some really cool back wings too, but they're just like tiny versions. And so make a headband, put some bat wings on, it will work out. I think they like come up out of the head, so almost the same kind of theory, I guess. But this is my cosplay I've chosen to do. It's gonna be complicated. I don't know if I can get it done within the time limit that they have available, but I'm excited to try this challenge. I'm glad that they're doing it, and I'm glad that I get to be hopefully a part of it. So I hope you all wish me luck, and I will keep you in the loop. I'm gonna try to post something about it every week so you can see how the progress is coming. And if you guys have any ideas, comments, anything like that along the lines, let me know. I'm all ears. Have a good day.